Come on, everybody. Here we go!
You're mad.
Thank goodness for that, because if I wasn't, this would probably never work.
No offense, but I don't play well with others. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that away. What are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Time travel commencing in T-minus 10 seconds and counting.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Welcome to the Disney Guys Uncensored. This is episode 113, recorded on May 17th, 2021. Alongside tag team partners Jordana and Tim, I am Bub, and we are your hosts for this evening. On tonight's episode, we'll take inspiration from the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. No, Tim, we're not doing a wrestling episode, unfortunately, but we will be dining with kings and queens, and we may even sleep in an alley eating pork and beans. But one thing is for sure, you will not want to listen to this episode on an empty stomach as we take a look at some of our favorite resort dining locations. And in this instance, there may be eating and drinking on this podcast, but we respectfully ask that you refrain from flash photography. Jordana?
As always, this episode is sponsored by Wish Upon Magic, an Etsy experience specializing in stickers, keychains, Mickey ears, and handmade home goods, where a portion of every purchase goes towards Make-A-Wish Foundation to help spread the magic. The featured stickers this week, guys, get ready for this, food-related, which is perfect for the episode this week, I think. The food-related themed stickers, including Tim's favorite, the Porg Tiki Mug sticker, Bub's pick, the Coke bottle orb from Galaxy's Edge.
The thing is money. It's all three of them. It's the Diet Coke, the Coke, and the Sprite. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And then we also have my personal favorite, which was the popcorn sticker. Now, guys, I know you don't have the bingo and rolly ones. It's okay. I forgive you. But it does feature some cool pups, including Percy, Stitch, Pluto, Doug, Max, and Nana. So make sure to go ahead and check it out. All of these great selections are over at Wish Upon Magic's Etsy store front. And when you make your purchase, be sure to mention the Disney Guys Uncensored in the notes section before checkout to get some magical freebies. Wish Upon Magic, your place for fluffy handmade items. Give them a follow on Instagram at Wish Upon Magic, Etsy, and their website, www.wishuponmagic.com, where you can find magical new selections every week. This episode was also made possible by our supporters over at Patreon. Please visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/The Disney Guys Uncensored for more information. And very exciting announcement. For the first time in forever, I might say, we will be offering our Discord chat service absolutely free of charge. That means direct access to 3 pretty level-headed Disney superfans. And then you got Bub. So
that seems right. That definitely seems right.
Yeah, that's about it. But we have to have them there. Please follow us on the Ohana and Instagram for all of the details. Keep an eye out for the invite link in the Ohana, or email us if you'd like us to send it to you directly. Our email is thedisneyguys@gmail.com.
Jordana, if I may, I think when you read that Patreon pitch every week now, you sound like you're at the end of a PBS television show.
Am I?
Yeah, it's great. It's like listening to Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, I do feel like we should be sending a tote bag along with that if you give it the $10 level.
I mean, hey.
Right. Oh, well, Jordana, thanks for cooking the books as usual in Drew's absence. Let's go to the news desk where I think Jordana has some interesting news coming your way from various locations around the world.
Yeah, so we're going to start off in Disneyland Paris. It was actually just recently announced that Disneyland Paris is reopening on June 17th at limited capacity, of course. The new Marvel-themed hotel, Disney Hotel New York, The Art of Marvel, which is not really the best name. They kind of just added to it.
Sounds like a book I would get at Barnes and Noble or a Walden Books. That would be the art of the MCU. Tim's a fan of it though.
Tim is. Tim said it was a cross between Pop Century and Marvel.
Yeah, no,
right?
It looks like a classier Pop Century, but Marvel themed. It's really well done, and as it sits now, something we will never get in Orlando unless the rules change a whole heck of a lot.
I think the resort does look nice, though, Jordana. It does.
It does. Yes, it does. But I just wanted to say that will actually be opening shortly after the reopen, so on June 21st. So go ahead and get ready for that. Large increase in Park Pass availability this weekend. This is in line with what was said on the Q2 earnings call last week. So you'll start to see those Park Passes. A lot of things that were sold out are going green a little bit. So hurry on to get them.
Do you mean to tell me that Drew took the Q2 earnings report week off?
Oh,
it was a pretty unexciting report.
They lost a ton of money in the parks department, but
and Disney Plus growth slowed a little bit because they haven't had any big smash hits. So it was not an exciting earnings call.
We should mention, though, that Drew has very good reason to not be on the show tonight. It is his daughter Zoe's birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday to Zoe, who is the Disney Guys Uncensored #1 fan.
Yes, absolutely. She listens every week, I've heard.
I hope not for her sake.
I hope not either. You got to have better parents than that. All right. So, and then on to Florida news. Well, I guess the second one was Florida news too, but mask stuff. Let's talk about this. I mean, real quick, we have Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens. They have all relaxed their mask requirements in outdoor areas. So, and they also have rolled back on the social distancing. I think they went from 6 feet to 3 feet. This is kind of a little bit of a controversial thing, but
they're filling the Tower of Terror right now. Cars, they're
filling everything now.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Right.
It's nuts.
All the plexiglass is down. Yeah. Everything's running at full cap. Universal had been there for a while, but if we're going to be honest, Universal hadn't been running things at full cap because they just don't have that many guests in the park right now.
Yep.
I mean, Universal, you could always kind of take your mask off for pictures and stuff like that. I don't think they ever had those sort of requirements. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've kind of always kind of had a little bit more relaxed a little bit more relaxed atmosphere from what I experienced in January. But just saying that you still have to wear them when you're entering the theme park, throughout all the attractions, when you're going into the entrance and exit queue. You also have to wear them in transportation, in all theaters, indoors when you're shopping, and transportation entrances and all indoor locations. So basic stuff, outdoors, you're kind of free to not wear it. Indoors or on attractions, you do need to wear your mask.
It is interesting when you look at the queue requirements because there are quite a few queues that are outdoors, and I think that may or may not cause some issues for the cast members going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the queues that are outdoor, indoor, like thinking about Tower of Terror, you start off outdoor, but then you kind of go indoor. Haunted Mansion, same thing.
Yep.
But it's
Flight of Passage. That's a big one.
Flight of Passage.
Yep. And that's seeing 80-minute waits again.
And why they say it, because not all of them have that outdoor-indoor experience, so you might as well have it. Plus being closer to people and probably not having the dividers when you're kind of weaving in and out of the lines and stuff makes sense. But and Tim, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just gotta say two things. Good friend of the show, Carly Wiesel, pointed out on Twitter when Disney made their announcement, because their announcement they got made at like 9:30 at night.
Yeah, it was a news dump.
And then wasn't official till like 10:30. There was cast members who had to deal with this who were already in bed and would not know that the mask requirements changed. until they got ready to work their shift the next morning.
Right.
So I don't know how Disney probably could have done a better job at forewarning their employees on this. And then the other thing is, it's so strange. You have to wear a mask to get into the theme park outdoors, and then you can take it off once you're through security. I understand what they're going for. It's out of respect for the security guards and stuff, but it's going to cause a lot of problems. There's going to be, you're going to get back to, we're going to see videos of the angry people and stuff, because people are not going to really be able to understand why when you're outside the park, you don't have to wear a mask. And then once you're inside the park, you don't have to wear a mask, but you have to put it back on for that. And it's going to cause a whole manner of issues, I think.
Well, yeah, Tim,
hopefully I'm wrong, but I foresee it doing that.
I think it emboldens people to have that argument, I think, is what it does. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Hopefully we're all hashtag adults in the room and can just follow the rules and regulations as they're laid out by the various theme parks or wherever you go. I mean, I think that's going to be what we need to do going forward. But hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Apparently we've turned a corner, so we'll see.
Just to reiterate, this is specifically for the Florida theme parks. California, nothing has changed yet. We are expecting some announcements June 15th for California to change. But as of right now, everything is exactly the same in California. So don't try going to Disneyland or Universal Studios Hollywood and take off your mask. It's not going to go well for you.
No, not at all. And I also think, just to add with the entrances and the security guards and stuff, that's a really high traffic area. You think there's always these crowds and you're trying to look for the shortest line to get through security, the ones without the strollers, the 10 backpacks with all the zippers, that kind of thing.
So whenever Drew isn't in the park, you want
whenever Drew isn't, yeah.
Oh, is Drew one of those guys?
Well, Drew wants to bring the wagon with the coolers and the bags of ice that aren't allowed anymore. That's a throwback to like 2 years ago when they changed all those policies.
It's been that long. Yeah, that was pre-COVID. No loose ice.
I remember that was like a real big news thing.
I remember that conversation. Like, it was fantastic. It was great conversation, really. Yeah.
All right, so that's all I got for news for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on over to our topic of the week.
Thanks, Jordana. Yep, this week we are talking resort dining. You guys love when we talk food, and we don't do it enough. And specifically, we're not talking about the restaurants in the parks, and we're not talking about the restaurants in that shopping and dining destination Disney Springs. We are talking about those restaurants that are located in and around Disney's illustrious hotels, or resorts as they like to refer to them as. And I think this is like a critically overlooked category of restaurants, even for guests who stay on property. I think a lot of people, you eat in the parks or you eat in Disney Springs and you eat at the restaurant that happens to be at the resort you're staying at. And I think personally, that is a huge mistake. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I unfortunately miss my yin or yang. If I'm yin, he's yang. I miss Andrew not being here for a dining episode, because we categorically disagree on pretty much everything related to dining and dining plans and everything about how you should eat in the theme parks and what you should eat, which is weird coming from me, who eats less than anybody on this podcast. But ultimately, I'm excited. I think, Tim, you kind of nailed it. I think that people fall in love with the idea of the restaurants at Disney Springs, or they have to get a meal in the parks, etc. With transportation as it is, when the resort is at full operational capacity, let me caveat that with this, is that, I mean, there's a bus ride away. You can go to great restaurants that are probably significantly less crowded than you're going to get in the theme parks. And I think it is criminally overlooked, Tim. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so actually you led me right into kind of the perfect example of this, and it didn't make any of our lists for this episode because, as I said in the news last week or the week before, it's currently down for a refurb. The Wave at the Contemporary, I think, perfectly exemplifies the spirit of what we're talking about, because you can walk out the front gate of the Magic Kingdom and walk to the Contemporary, and even at the absolute height of COVID, when the restaurants were at 25% capacity and you couldn't get an ADR to save your life, you could get a table at the Wave. And the Wave has some of the best food on property, some of the best prices for a table service on property, and it's sometimes it takes less time to walk if you're in Fantasyland or on Main Street to walk to it than make your way back to one of the crowded table services inside the Magic Kingdom. And you could just get this fantastic food. The only reason it's on our list is the Wave is going down for a refurb. Fingers crossed it's still going to have the same food. I do suspect that we will see maybe some IP encroaching in there. Jordana, what do you got?
The only thing I'm really hoping comes back with the Wave is bottomless mimosas for brunch.
Definitely. Yeah, Wave has great food and great drinks.
Yes. So that's your, if you're doing an adult only trip, that is your one stop. Only even if you're going with kids, who am I to judge? So that is your
drive, and you're taking that Disney transportation.
Right. Exactly. You don't have to drive. Who cares? As long as your kids are fed, they're all right.
No, but I think we're probably going to see a little bit of Incredibles tossed in there, and there's been a long rumor about Incredibles Steakhouse. I hope that it's just the Incredibles IP and they don't change the menu, because that menu is fantastic. But with that, let's get in here. We're going to each talk about 3 of our favorite picks for resort dining. Could be at any hotel on property, and it could be anything from a food court to a quick service to a pool bar to a signature dining location, and anything in between. So let's kick it off with Jordana. I think sticking where we started at the Contemporary, what's your first pick?
So definitely, I'm a fan of contemporary dining overall. I think I've said that, and I'm just a fan of the resort. I love Chef Mickey's. I love the Wave. And go ahead, Bob. What do you
mention it every time we talk resorts in any capacity. How much you love contemporary.
Love it, okay?
I don't know. It's fine. I like Bay Lake Tower. I do.
There we go. So my first pick, I should say, is California Grill, which if you have not done this resort, this is a must do. Especially, like I said, another adult only kind of pick. But even if you wanted to take the kids, I think they're allowed. Or if you want to take them for brunch. I think right now they're only doing dinner just because of COVID and everything. I don't think they've actually opened for the mornings. But I have a very special memory in my heart with this one. So it's one of the best romantic dinner spots on property. Guy and I, before kids, went here after we got engaged. And we went here on our honeymoon. And both times we had gotten a filet that literally, it cut like butter. It was so friggin' good. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry.
Yeah, you can say that, please. You can say that, please.
And then they also have a great wine selection. And even, the water, it's not just plain water. It is delicious, especially after a long day in the parks. You need that electrolyte water. This is it. Listen, I put up a good point.
Hey, great water. That's a reason to go to California Grill right there. Great water.
It's delicious. It's an added thing. But hopefully, once the fireworks come back, it's definitely a great place to snag a reservation, because during fireworks, they actually dim the lights and cue in the music. So you get to watch Happily Ever After, because this, so the California Grill is actually on top of the Contemporary, and you can see Magic Kingdom from the Contemporary. So it's very, very cool. And Tim, what do you think?
I'm a fan of this restaurant. I think every Disney person is. But nice tip. This is not an easy reservation to get, and this is one of the more expensive meals on property, if not the most expensive meal on property, other than Victoria's and Albert's. Mm-hmm. So if you just want to grab a drink and some appetizers at the lounge, hold on to that receipt, your credit card receipt, or ask for a receipt if you pay cash, because you can actually bring that back at fireworks time, and they will let you watch the fireworks out on the terrace. This was pre-COVID. I don't know if this will continue when it comes back, but that was definitely a perk of consuming any food or drink at the California Grill. That didn't matter if it was brunch or mid-afternoon or at dinner time. You were always welcome back to experience the fireworks there, which is a truly unique experience.
It is.
Yeah, and let's just give a little history lesson for those of you with the benefit of flash photography. which we promise not to use here. Back in 1971, when this resort opened, Jordana, this was the top of the world restaurant. So clearly you're saying that it is a great spot to overlook Magic Kingdom. Think back to 1971. This was the only park on property. This was one of the only one of 3 hotels that were open. And I mean, it had and does have the best views, aerial views of Magic Kingdom that you can get for a song. I mean, I know that people do say Bay Lake Tower has some great views if you get top of the tower rooms as well. And then think about this. One of the first dinner shows that Disney ever had was in 1981, Broadway at the Top. They had like a song and dance show here. This restaurant, historically significant and still going strong, considered one of the best restaurants on property.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I didn't know about the Broadway. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that ran for like 15 years or so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
and then they closed it and opened this restaurant.
Huh.
So yeah, I mean, but every incarnation of this restaurant has been one of the premier restaurants on property. So.
It's set up for success, honestly.
Yeah.
No matter, as long as you can bring the food and it's good, the location speaks for itself, honestly.
Yeah, certainly does. I think the contemporary resort location itself speaks for itself, just where it is.
I'm a fan.
Yep. I mean,
I do think, just FYI, this is one of the only restaurants other than Victoria's and Albert's that does have a very minor dress code. This isn't like Victoria and Albert's where it's jacket required, but I do think they don't allow sandals, and I don't think you wear tank tops. Basically everywhere else, and I don't know how many people know this, some of these resort restaurants, you feel like it's real nice and fancy. They literally don't care if you come in from sweating your butt off at the Magic Kingdom all day in a tank top and some board shorts. They will serve you. They will serve you graciously because they know you are coming from a theme park. That's the clientele they're serving. This is one of the only places though that there's a slight. I think you have to wear men. It's a collared shirt and no open toed, no sandals for guys.
Drew's out. I mean, he wears collared shirts, but that kid wears sandals in the winter. So
yeah, I will say though, if dining plan comes back, when it comes back, I should say, this was just a 2 dining credit.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
So if you wanted to save your dining credits and just save the money a little bit, that was always our go-to. I
would say a better use of the 2 credit than most other 2 credit restaurants. 2 credit dining,
definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my dining plan philosophy, and we can kind of get into that a little bit. All of the what's the word escape? What is the contemporary, the Polynesian, Wilderness Lodge? What kind of resorts? Deluxe. All the deluxe resorts, with the exception that we'll actually get into. One of them has a signature dining restaurant, but you almost always hear them referred to as 2 credit restaurants. That's because they use 2 of your table service dining credits on the Disney dining plan to eat at them, and almost across the board, it is never worth it, with the exception of this restaurant. Usually, the difference in price, the difference in quality does not justify using 2 whole meals on your vacation to eat the 1 meal, except for in the case of California Grill, where the food, the views, it's so exclusive and it's so expensive that this is the one place I will co-sign, use 2 of your dining credits, and splurge because it's going to save you money compared to if you were paying cash for the meal.
It is funny, Tim, that you mention that this restaurant is one of your 2 credit meals and how exclusive and how great it is, because the next one on our list, this California Grill is a heavy hitter, Jordana, no question about it. But Tim, your first pick here is one that we have talked about. Me and you have referenced quite a few times on this show, and I kind of left it open for you. You will do it better justice than I will, and I'm excited to talk it because I think this might be the most overlooked place that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I think that's for a reason. What we're talking about is Sanaa at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. This is their 1 dining plan credit table service restaurant. I go every single trip since the first time that Rachel and I ate here together, which actually is a sentimental story. This is where we ate dinner the night that we got engaged. We got engaged that morning at the Magic Kingdom, and then we ate dinner here at Sanaa. This is a fantastic restaurant. I agree with Bub that it's kind of overlooked, but it's more of the fact that The Animal Kingdom Lodge is in the middle of nowhere. There's no good way to get to it. Even if you're at the Animal Kingdom, it's not like the Epcot area resorts or the monorail resorts where it's a hop, skip, and a jump away. You are still waiting on a bus, taking a long bus ride. Animal Kingdom Lodge is split into Kidani Village and Jambo House. So there's multiple bus stops. It's kind of a pain to get here, but I also think that is the reason why Animal Kingdom Lodge has a fantastic food court, which the name slips my mind right now. It has Sanaa, which is the best, in my opinion, the best one-table service credit restaurant on property. It has Boma, which is very widely considered the best buffet on property and one of the few restaurants that Orlando locals will go this deep onto property with no plans to go to the theme park or Disney Springs or anything, just to eat a meal there. And then it has Jiko, the cooking place, which is their signature dining 2-credit restaurant, which, though not as well acclaimed as Sanaa or Boma, is widely considered a very, very good restaurant and has a reputation. Actually, their filet dish is considered the best steak on property. So, I mean, Animal Kingdom Lodge, I think by virtue of it being so out of nowhere, they know that the people who are staying there are going to eat most of their meals there. So they have excellent, excellent restaurants. But we're talking about Sanaa. Sanaa is synonymous with a very specific appetizer they have, the bread service. And it shocks me that, Bub, you're into it because we joke about it a lot, but you are not the most adventurous eater. You eat very basic
breads. I eat
American
breads.
foods.
I eat breads.
Yes. I mean, bread service.
This is it's vague calling it bread, but it's yes. Yes.
So it's when I say bread service, we're not talking. This isn't when you go to the Cheesecake Factory and you get a little French baguette and some pumpernickel
also
bread
decent
and some
bread service.
Seeds in
also
it.
decent bread
good
service.
bread service there.
Or Olive Garden breadsticks, Tim. It's not that.
Yeah, it's none of these things. What this is a basket with several different types of naan. The Indian flatbread. You get a garlic naan. You get a chili oil naan, you get a plain naan, and I believe you get a cheese naan. And then usually 2 more pieces of other either African or Southeast Asian inspired bread. Sometimes like a puffed up like chickpea flour based bread, or like oftentimes a flat, almost like oily fried African bread with like caraway seeds in it. Just like these are going to be all flatbreads and all very interesting. But the star of the show is you get this wooden paddle tray thing with 10 or 12 different dipping sauces in it. And they arrange them from the most mild to the most spicy. And these are about as exotic as it gets. You know, the least adventurous is probably a red pepper hummus, which is excellent. But there is stuff like all sorts of mint chutneys and cilantro and hot sauces and oils. There's a fermented black garlic, which is excellent. And you kind of mix and match these sauces and smear it on these different breads and kind of do your own thing. And this is the one thing that anybody who's ever been here, I've never heard them not suggest to a person, you have to get the bread service. Even if that's the only thing you're going there for, get the bread service and drinks. It's just totally awesome, almost to the point where it overshadows the other food there. Have you guys had the bread service?
I have had that. I'm like Bub, not too much of an adventurous eater, but my husband loved it. He said, I can't wait to go back. He's like, I might go back by myself because you didn't like it that much. But so I liked the 2 milder sauces, but other than that, I was kind of giving the rest to him. But Bub, have you ever had it?
Yeah, no, like you said, the milder sauces were for me too. They was much closer, and again, I to fully appreciate, I think the entire bread service is why I'm glad that Tim was speaking about it and not myself, because I feel like Tim would at least give every one of those an opportunity where I'm like, no, I'm going to stay here. So, again, very good. I'm glad that Tim picked it. And Tim, it was the Mara, was the Animal Kingdom.
Mara's the food court.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, and that's where the Zebra Dome is, which is another great quick service hidden gem dessert that's only available at a quick service inside a resort. Other than this bread service, which is very globally inspired, the rest of the dishes, there's a couple there's a steak on the menu, but other than that, it's either African or Indian-inspired food. They have what they call Pajidi-inspired dining. This is like a traditional Indian tiffin where you're gonna pick a couple different entrees. You're gonna get a small portion of it served in a metal container, and it's gonna be served with basmati rice. I believe you pick two, and then you can add a third for an additional charge, or if you're on the dining plan, they just throw the third in. These are things like butter chicken, seafood curry, some different beef dishes, some paneer. I think they have paneer tikka masala. Paneer is a soft Indian cheese that's used in a lot of their vegetarian dishes. And then the vegetable dishes, they have, your traditional, your chickpea curries, your vegetable biryani, just different dishes like this that you'd see at an Indian restaurant in your town. And then the other big specialty they have is African biryanis, this is a toasted rice dish, almost like an African paella. They have a vegetable one, a chicken one, a shrimp one, and a beef one. I really enjoyed the vegetable one. Rachel's gotten the shrimp one, and we've also done the Pojidi-inspired dining. Dessert-wise, this place has some really awesome desserts, really, really creative stuff with all sorts of, again, African-inspired flavors. Last time we were there was during COVID, and the dessert menu is very limited, and they took away my favorite dessert, which is just called the candy bar, and it's this amazing homemade candy bar with pistachios and mousse and chocolate served chilled. It's totally awesome, so I really hope that comes back once the limited menus of the COVID era are over. But yeah, Sanaa is a great experience, totally worth it. One of the better bargains on property. So if you're at the Animal Kingdom and it's one of those nights, maybe you're there on a weeknight and they're going to close a little bit earlier since there's no more Rivers of Light, it's totally worth it to get the Sanaa reservation, take the bus over there. This is one you need reservations for. We are talking about how it's underrated, but it is not a huge restaurant. It does have an incredible savanna view. Some of the antelopes and deer species, they put their food like in these bushes that are right up against the glass. So if you go there at lunch, the animals will be literally right up against the glass if you have one of the tables that has a savanna view, watching you eat as you watch them eat. So make sure you get the reservation for here. It's only open lunch and dinner. Take the bus over there. It's something you should experience and find out. It's definitely more exotic food than you typically find at even some of the more gourmet Disney restaurants, but I think most people end up liking it, and I haven't met a person yet who doesn't like something on that bread service.
Yeah, Tim, I got to be honest with you. Now that we have the conversation, we probably could have just done an Animal Kingdom Lodge dining.
We've thrown that around a couple times.
Because I just think really when you think about it, in a realistic sense of the word, for people that actually eat things like a normal human being, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better collection of restaurants than you do at Animal Kingdom Lodge at any of these Disney resorts. Realistically.
Oh, for sure. If you told me, it's the apocalypse, you're going to be stuck at one Disney resort, I would pick the Animal Kingdom Lodge just because I could eat a variety of different foods and not get sick of it for months. Because unlike these two, I'm a super adventurous eater, and this place definitely feeds those cravings for me.
Well, I think as we go on further in this list, you'll realize that me and Jordana are big supporters of quick service restaurants. Maybe the children and the kids, Jordana. I don't know.
It could be.
Tim has cats. We have kids. Or not. That's one cat joke, Tim. That's one. Tim's cat is actually joining us tonight. That's the exciting thing.
No, he's trying his hardest. He was outside the door meowing, which is not something he normally does, but that's what he decided to do this time. Bob, what's your pick for the first one?
So it's funny to me because I got this when we started doing this doc this week. I kind of threw this one on there first, and then I felt like you guys would do better talking about this than I will. But I will tell you, for me, Ohana specifically, the breakfast, and I'm not saying hello to our listeners. I'm saying Ohana, the restaurant at the Polynesian. It's an all-you-care-to-enjoy buffet for breakfast or family style, whatever you want to call it. It is one of the first places that I ever met Minnie Mouse. And this was at the Mini Menahune breakfast when it was known as the Papati Bay Veranda restaurant. And I will tell you, this might have been the first character dining experience that I ever had. And I was like 8 years old. It was wild. It was fun. And really the only reason I picked this portion of Ohana for the breakfast portion is Pog Juice. I mean, I think any conversation with the Polynesian begins and ends with Pog Juice. And that's the pomegranate orange guava. I like to call it hashtag money. It's one of the
passion fruit orange guava.
Sorry, yeah, passion fruit orange guava, just delicious. No,
I'm a fan.
No, absolutely. I mean, a lot of conversations about the Polynesian end with Pog Juice because Trader Sam's uses it as the base for a lot of those very strong tiki drinks.
Yeah, I mean it's a utility beverage, and it is. I'll tell you what, on a sticky Florida morning, that is one of the most refreshing drinks you can get. I mean, it's right there, man. It's delicious. The food is fine. It's standard breakfast fare. It's got the Mickey waffles for the kids and myself. It's got, the porks and the sausages, and it's very good.
Big tray of scrambled eggs that all character dinings have to have.
Yeah, yep. And you get some interaction with Lilo and Stitch now. It's not Minnie Mouse anymore. It's Lilo and Stitch. So it is a lot of fun. Like I said, it's been a couple of years since I've been here, and I know you guys are big fans of Ohana. I know Drew's also a fan of the restaurant as well. It's one of those that is probably the most accessible of the first three that we've talked about, I would think, in terms of families, non-families, just everybody has a story about Ohana. The long tables, it's a very communal experience, which would probably frighten people in this current climate. But really, it was one of the great experiences in terms of dining at the Polynesian. And the Polynesian is another one that we'll touch on, I think, later too, that has really, really underrated dining. And you guys all know I'm not a fan of the Polynesian on many levels, but I will say dining-wise, it does do a great job.
Right.
I would say the Ohana... Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the dinner experience is something not to sleep on either. They don't have the characters at night, but they do have a really fun, luau experience, where usually they have a performer coming around singing some fancy Hawaiian music. And I went here before Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in 2019. And we were celebrating my mom's birthday, and they made her get up and sing and gave her a lei and everything. And it's just a lot of fun. So, but that's all. I just wanted to say that the dinner is also phenomenal. And I probably shouldn't, they have a really good pineapple drink, by the way. But probably shouldn't have eaten so much and then went to the Halloween party and ate all that candy. Just saying.
Oh, I mean, you get food at this restaurant. No question about it.
So dinner here is very popular. I think Disney doesn't release numbers on anything, but it would not surprise me if this was they put the most people through this restaurant on a yearly basis for table service dinner at any of the resorts. Huge restaurant, and it's constantly packed. This is one of those ADRs that you want your travel agent to get you 120 days out on that morning. This books up crazy fast. The dinner is iconic, and it's also all you care to eat. They start you with this salad that has these crispy noodles in it and cranberries and a vinaigrette. They move you on to this giant poo-poo platter of appetizers with these dumplings and the peanut noodles. There's all sorts of stuff in that. And actually, all the stuff on that appetizer platter, you can order off a secret menu that is not so secret anymore at the Tambu Lounge right outside the door. And then dinner is your servers come around. And this is kind of almost like that place at Hollywood Studios with like 50s Drive-In, where you're part of the family. Here, all the servers are your cousins. They call you cousin. Yeah. They use the Hawaiian word for cousin, and they come around with these swords with meat and shrimp on it. They got steak with a pineapple marinade on it, chicken teriyaki, and these shrimp. And I was always hesitant to go here as a vegetarian. It turns out if you tell me you're a vegetarian, you get they make it this whole tofu stir fry and bring you a giant like wok, a full size wok full of tofu stir fry. So Rachel and I have been here. It's a great experience. Just make sure you hit up Jordana Izzo at Travelmation to get you this ADR as soon as possible. And unfortunately, as Bob pointed out, this is a very communal thing, open kitchen. I don't think this has reopened yet.
No, and I don't think you'll see it open. I mean, even when the resort reopens in July, I think it'll be touch and go in terms of the experience you get here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Disney wants to reopen this place, but it seems like one of the hardest to reopen in COVID. Mm-hmm. But definitely once it reopens, and it will reopen, because during COVID they redid all the upholstery and all the carpeting in this place. They're getting it ready for the new look of the Polynesian. You want to go here at least once, and you know, gorge yourself on meat off of swords and listen to some Hawaiian music.
Meat off of swords. Can we mark the tape on that one, please?
Yeah. We will post that highlight of me saying meat off of swords. Bob, what do you got next?
Review. No, Tim, it's you, buddy. You're up. That was mine.
Oh, I'm up. Okay,
all right. Mine.
All right. I think this one's a little bit more obscure. This is kind of a hidden gem. It's Artist's Point. Mm-hmm. At the Wilderness Lodge, actually named after a famous spot in Yellowstone on the trails. This was the Wilderness Lodge's signature 2-credit restaurant, and it was terrible. It had an awful reputation. People hated it. So they closed it down. It reopened in spring of 2019 as a character dining. But it is unlike any other character dining on property. This is a very adult character dining. It's a prefix menu, which means that you pay one price and they take you through the courses. It starts with you walk in, you're brought to your table by the server, the napkins on the table with this napkin ring with like a little card of an apple. And the show kind of starts. They bring out this ceramic tree with all the leaves have like indentations in it. And then they bring out some shared appetizers and everything. You know, they if you have 2 people at your table, you get 2 of each. If you have 3, so on and so forth. And then you order an entree. There's a choice of 6 different entrees. All of them are fantastic. Very like hearty food, I guess would be the way. It's like elevated comfort food. The time I was there, I got an amazing gnocchi dish with this cream sauce and arugula and butternut squash. Rachel got a seafood stew, but they also have this a prime rib dish, a braised veal shank, a half roasted chicken with vegetables, and a fish dish. And then it finishes out with some shared desserts. And then finally, the server comes to your table with the huntsman's gift to the queen, which is this cracked smoked maple caramel corn and chocolate ganache hearts. It's this elaborate presentation and this beautiful box that opens up and smoke pours out. But while this is all going on, you're visited by a progression of characters that's almost like a show. It starts with Snow White. And Snow White is not exactly the rarest character. You see her all the time in the parks. But then it's Dopey and Grumpy. And Dopey and Grumpy, Disney character aficionados know, are 2 of the rarest characters at Walt Disney World. Prior to Artist's Point having them every night for the character dining, the only time you saw these guys was sometimes at after-hours events and not at Not So Scary and not at Christmas. So really limited to those DVC Moonlight Madnesses and some of like the random, like the villains takeover that they would do. But this was the place to see them. And then finally, the grand finale character and the most interesting one is the queen. They then have her royal entrance for the evil queen, and she goes to the center of the room. There's a throne and this, elaborate curtain backdrop. And all the characters, they sign your enchanted apple napkin ring. And the queen is probably the most in character I've ever seen any meet and greet character. Sometimes she won't even sign even the kids' cards. She won't smile. If you talk to her when they line you up to take your picture with her, she you sometimes won't talk to you. She's mean to you. She makes fun of all the guys. It's great fun. It's a very adult character dining. It's strange because it's almost a character dining. You certainly could bring kids, but there is a kids menu, but the food is not the type of food generally that kids would like. And the way it's structured, it is certainly not like Ohana Breakfast or Chef Mickey's or even the Tusker House in Animal Kingdom. It's almost like they specifically wanted to make a classy character dining for adults. As of when this closed for COVID, this is another one that's not open yet. This was one table service credit, and I think money-wise, this was your best deal for a one table service credit restaurant. Have either of you guys experienced this?
No, I have not.
I have not either, no. And I think this was on my radar to do, and then obviously with COVID and everything, but we weren't able to snag a reservation for our trip September 2019, and then after that,
right.
So
highly recommend it. You guys are pickier eaters. This is definitely food that both of you guys would eat because it's definitely comfort food,
right,
adjacent stuff. No crazy spices or presentations or anything.
I do question the use of those characters in that resort particularly. It's a very odd fit to me.
So honestly, I think this was a convenience thing. So
right.
This point was obviously fits the decor of the rest of the resort. It's that beam and craftsman style architecture. And what they did was they looked at a space that was starting to get kind of dated. It did have those big beams, but other than that, it was just very empty. And the only really notable feature of the old version of the restaurant were these hanging lanterns. So what they did is they converted all those beams into tree trunks with branches and this canopy. So all of a sudden, the restaurant is now an enchanted forest, and it's kind of dark and dim, and they put candles on the table. So I think it was just a very easy way to say, we don't have a Snow White character dining. People love the Evil Queen. The dwarves are an exciting and rare character to me. Let's just do it here since this is an enchanted forest now. I think it was just purely convenient because you're right. It isn't the best fit, but we're going to do a Brother Bear character dining. You get Drew.
Don't bring Drew into this. He would crush a Brother Bear dining meal as long as Phil Collins was there.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, Tim, I got to tell you, it's on my list, Tim. It's on my list. You've convinced me. It's on my list.
Yeah.
You know, as you said this, I really want to get a true villains dining together where it's the Evil Queen, Maleficent, Hades. I think it'd be a lot of fun doing a villains dining meal.
I think you could do that just right because I could see that being overwhelming because
it could be.
Queen is intense. It's a lot.
Right. But if you think about the antithesis of this would be Cinderella's Royal Table, where you have all the princesses. This would be a much more adult-oriented. Maybe somewhere in downtown Disney they could do it. And it's maybe once a week or something, and it's a hot ticket, and they could charge whatever they want, $2,000 a day, $3,000 a day, because people will pay it.
Are we doing this at the Edison? We could definitely do this at the Edison.
That'd be wild. I don't think they own the Edison, though.
I'm not sure if they do or don't, but black walls, all that brass work, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's just me spitballing. I'm going to go the complete opposite direction for my next pick. I'm going to a value resort and going to the world premiere food court over at All-Star Movies. Sentimentality aside, this is where we kind of celebrated Zachary's third birthday. We did take him to Chef Mickey's. I felt like we've talked a lot about Chef Mickey's on this show, so I didn't really want to bring it up again. I feel like we have talked about it, so I wanted to go somewhere different. I said, hey, the world premiere food court, fantastic. It's, and in fact, you could really speak to all of the food courts at the All-Star in this instance. They're really, as Tim would say, accessible to people like me and Jordana. It's standard food court fare. The designing, though, it's fun decor. I do like the indoor-outdoor pool bar area where half of it's inside, half of it's outside. I just think there's something to be said, and especially with these resorts being geared towards families, that you need to have food that's accessible. If we do agree, Jordana, I think you will talk about it shortly. I think this the one you're going to talk about and the one over at Art of Animation, Landscape of Flavors or whatever it's called, are probably the three best value food courts on property. And we'll talk about yours in a minute. But World Premiere Food Court for me, just a lot of fun. The decor, the pictures, the food, and they do have secret menu items. You got to know what you're looking for. But lots of fun, lots of bright colors, and that's kind of the norm at the All-Star Resorts anyway. And Jordan, I know you're a fan of the food courts too, so.
Yeah, and now, correct me if I'm wrong, don't they have like movies playing everywhere too? Yep. So,
yeah, and I think they have, sometimes they have the Mickey shorts playing and stuff like that. And
right.
It's a lot of fun. It's Disney takes their dining very seriously, and I think Disney fans take their dining very seriously. Sometimes it's okay to accept the fact that you're going to have chicken tenders and fries because you're traveling with children. Exactly. And I think that's going to be okay sometimes. And I will tell you that some of the food courts at the All-Star do have nice carving stations. You can get a nice piece of beef or prime rib, and I think even some of them, they do have fish options. Not my bag, but certainly they're there. And Tim, vegetarian options, I think in the food court instance, they do have them, but they're very limited. So
yeah, most of the value resort food courts, it's like a pizza with some vegetables, a pizza with cheese, and generic veggie burger.
Yeah, the veggie burger is a big one. Yeah, it's there. I don't think there's anything to go crazy in depth with on a value food court. I think you know what you're getting into. And I really picked it for the sentimentality of when we went. It was Zachary's 3rd birthday, and we have pictures of him, and he was having the time of his life. So I will tell everyone listening that do not take those moments for granted in your life, right. Ever. Not to get sentimental with you, but never take those moments for granted when you're in those moments. So
I love that. I remember, I just thinking back because we went and you mentioned Chef Mickey's, but just real quick, that we did Sal's first birthday at Chef Mickey's, and just those pictures to look back at and those videos and stuff. It's awesome.
It's funny. The number one question I get asked by people, and this is no fake, is, well, how come you took your kids so young? I said, well, it wasn't for them. It was for me.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't for them. And they'll see the pictures and they'll remember, and I'm air quoting for my people that are videoing with me, but you guys can't see it listening. But you will remember those moments. You will have that moment and say, and I know we haven't talked about it, when you go to the barbershop and you get your son's first haircut. Alex has no clue that he got his first haircut at Harmony Barbershop.
Right.
But I do. We have pictures and video, and we have the Mickey ears, and it's just those are the moments you have to hang on to. And if it's a food court ice cream that melts all over your kid's face, and you're on, and who the hell cares? Those are the moments you live for, and that's why we take our kids to Disney. Not to get preachy. Let's get on. Enough of this gooey show of emotion, and let's go over to Jordana's next pick as well.
So I'm actually going back to the Poly, and I want to talk about Kona Cafe. And actually, I want to talk about the breakfast there at Kona Cafe. There's a must try if you're going to get breakfast, if you're looking for something to do. They have this thing. It's called Tonga Toast. It is insane. So it is this very, very large piece of toast, Texas toast, I guess. And it's banana stuffed French toast. And it's covered in cinnamon sugar, and it's absolutely delicious. It's like diabetes on a plate, but it is so good. I can't even explain it. I get so excited. I literally want it now, of course, but being pregnant, I'm giving myself a craving.
I think that guy should have no problem finding a recipe online and making that for you.
He probably will.
And he would knock it out of the park.
I might have
this as a beloved and famous dish. I think this is a pretty easy one to find some copycat restaurants. And I think Disney might have put this one out there. So
I think they did.
Guy, when you're listening to this episode on Tuesday morning, that's what Jordana wants for dinner on Tuesday.
Oh, he's already going to be up at 3 a.m. making this for me.
She wants it for breakfast, Guy. Get on it.
So it's literally one of the best breakfasts. I get it every single time I make a reservation over here. It's also another place you can get the pog juice. And then we learned our last family trip that Sal needs his own order of Tonga toast because I am no longer sharing my Tonga toast with him because we each were.
Is that because he loves it or because you just want to eat the whole thing?
So both. The problem was usually, you know, with toddlers, they eat one or two couple pieces and they throw the rest on the floor and then you're like, all right, you're done. Yeah. Nope. Sal ate half of it, and I was not happy that I only got half of my Tonga toast.
You know, you could have just ordered another one.
I could have.
They would have brought it to you.
You know.
This is famously the toast that's about 3 inches thick, right? Yeah. When everything's said and done, yeah.
You still want the whole thing to yourself. You do not share that.
You've seen the Tesseract from Avengers? This is like a French toast Tesseract, more or less, people.
She doesn't get the reference then, but I do. That's okay.
I know, but they did. The listeners do.
Some of our listeners get it, yes.
So if you are looking for another breakfast place, another breakfast sit down, or something a little bit more casual besides the character dinings and stuff like that, this is definitely my go-to. So I want 2
Polynesian visits and 2 Polynesian breakfasts. And I know Tim spoke to the Ohana's dinner, but man, 2 Polynesian breakfasts. I mean, we both can't be wrong.
Right.
You know? And
you might just have to stay at the Poly.
You may have to stay at the Poly just for breakfast.
Right, exactly.
Or just get a dining reservation and go over to the Poly, I guess.
Right.
Maybe that'll save you a couple of dollars anyway from the Poly's exorbitant room.
It'll save you enough dollars to buy all the breakfasts.
Yes, and all the pog juice you can drink in one sitting.
And then you can walk off that Tonga toast using the completed path across the Grand Floridian Way, and you can walk your point.
I'm sure you're going to walk it off.
Miles to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, what's funny is we did not have one Grand Floridian restaurant on here. I'm stunned that we did not put a Grand Floridian restaurant on this list, but maybe for next time.
Maybe next time.
So.
Bub, what do you got next?
Oh, man. So I'm going to arguably my second favorite resort on property. If we're going to include Port Orleans as one property, then I guess that's my favorite. But this is the French Quarter, my second favorite area of Port Orleans, even though there's only 2. I will tell you that Mardi Gras, the little pool bar, is awesome at French Quarter. You can get pretzels, which standard fare, whatever. I got a regular pretzel, and I believe Megan got a turkey wrapper or some sort of like chicken salad thing. They got a salad with some chopped chicken in it. It's super affordable, $7-8 a piece, which is great. But really, you're going here for the drinks, my friends. And Jordana, I know you can speak to this, and I will speak to this. They have an All That Jazz. And that is a layered blend of Gator melon juice, Front Porch Freeze, and Nola Cola, served in a souvenir hurricane glass. They also have hurricanes. Probably the best hurricane on property, because there's no Pat O'Brien's on property, is there? No, there isn't. Good. So probably the best hurricane on property. And I tell you, we went here on our honeymoon. We stayed at the French Quarter when we had our land version of our honeymoon. And I will tell you, it's just a fun little bar. And I said, we're gonna have some fun tonight too. We're gonna talk some good restaurants, but we gotta talk some fun. And Mardi Gras is a great name for a pool bar. It fits the theming of the pool and the resort. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of off to the side. It's got some seating, got some big TVs. You can watch the game or whatever is on at the time. And it's really just a fun little bar. I will tell you that I think it's Muddy Rivers or Muddy Waters, Muddy something or other, over at Riverside is also a really, really great pool bar. 2 of the better pool bars you're going to find on property in terms of theming and how they fit the ideals of their specific resorts. Excellent stuff here. I don't know if you guys have experienced Mardi Gras. Highly recommend it.
I have not, but I am a big fan of resort pool bars in general. And all the resorts, from your All-Stars all the way up to your Grand Floridians, all have a pool bar.
Yep.
And they're almost across the board fantastic. They, as far as I know, all have a unique drink menu. This is not the generic Disney drink menu. They'll have all the generic Disney drinks, and then they will also have a second sheet of ones unique to that pool bar. And in my experience, and I've been to a bunch of these, so I've stayed at a bunch of different resorts on property, it always seems like the bartenders at those pool bars want to be there, are often locals or transplants who live there year round now, and they love to talk. They always got great stories to tell you. They're just very engaging bartenders, because unlike the lounges in the lobbies and certainly the lounges in the parks, where it's much more about serving a high volume of people as quickly as possible. The pool bar, if you're actually sitting there drinking, you are the rarity. It's either people doing grab and goes to take back to their station at the lounge chairs or the pool, or it's not that busy because it's not peak pool hours. So these are a great place to check out if you want a more chilled out bar with some great bartenders.
Yeah, I will say that if you go over to Riverside, it is the Muddy Rivers bar, and their signature drink there is the Front Porch Freeze, which is the Bayou Silver Rum, pineapple juice, and orange juice blended with a mango puree, again served in a souvenir hurricane glass. So those are the pretty, I tell you, both of the bars are really, really fun places. They sit there. They're literally right on the pool's edge. They're great. A lot of fun. Jordana, I can't imagine that you wouldn't enjoy yourself in a few months' time.
Oh, I will. I'm counting down the days, actually.
All right. So, Jordana, that actually is not an interesting segue at all. In fact, one of my worst segues of all time, but you're up next.
Okay, so actually I'm going back to the quick service dining because we kind of touched on these, but I'm going everything pop dining and shopping experience. So if you have ever been to Pop Century, you know that they have a great souvenir shop over there. There's a million things. It's one of the best shops on property, honestly. But the dining, nothing to sleep on. They have this great turkey sandwich that's literally, again, it's like huge. It's huge. I just can't describe it. But it's so I pulled it up here. Turkey, mozzarella, sweet bell peppers, basil aioli, lettuce, and balsamic vinaigrette with french fries. And it's like this monstrous sandwich that's like probably, 3 inches thick. It's like you have to smush it down to take a bite. So good. One of my favorite sandwiches probably on property. And then they also have the tie-dye cheesecake. Guys, if you've never had the tie-dye cheesecake, you're missing out. It's absolutely delicious. And definitely their signature dessert over there. So, no real memories here, but we're fans of Pop Century. That's usually our go-to for value resorts. And yeah, so I don't know. We're always satisfied with the. Yeah,
you're not against the grain there. That routinely everything Pop considered the best value food court on property.
Oh,
if you talk to people in the know, people not in the know, people that stay at Pop, people who don't stay at Pop, everyone knows everything Pop. It is a wholly considered the best food court on property. Maybe not the most extensive if you want to get technical like Damara or something like that, but in terms of food courts at value resorts, food courts at any of the resorts, this one always ranks higher than its brothers and sisters over at the All-Star. And I think it's Landscape of Flavors, like we mentioned, kind of across the lake there over at Art of Animation, also usually gets very high marks. Both of them. Really, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised that we don't have a table service restaurant at Art of Animation yet.
Yeah, no, I am.
I'm surprised at that, but
their prices are usually a little bit higher than your usual value because of the suites.
Even for the standard Little Mermaid rooms that are literally in the middle of freaking nowhere at that resort are usually higher than their counterparts at other resorts, at the value resorts. So very interesting to see that we don't have a sit-down restaurant there yet, and just make it what it is. It's a moderate. It's a value moderate is what it is.
Right.
For
exactly.
sure.
Yep. So Tim, take us home country road, baby. Let's go. I mean, you didn't, I don't know if you say the best for last, but you saved maybe the most fun restaurant for last.
Well, so about that, my last pick is Whispering Canyon. Also was another restaurant that was had its menu redone in 2019 when they redid the dining at Wilderness Lodge. This is located at Wilderness Lodge, right in the lobby. This is if you walk in at the front door and you're in that magnificent, iconic, great hall. To your left or to your right is going to be the check-in desk, and your left is going to be Whispering Canyon, just kind of out there in the lobby. This is another one that almost always needs a reservation. They have a regular menu you can order off of, a couple appetizers, a couple steaks, some chicken dishes and stuff. But the real name of the game here is the all you care to enjoy skillets. There's 4 of them. The classic, this is going to have all your barbecue heavy hitters, your pulled pork, your ribs, your chicken, and your brisket. They got the pig, and this is going to be all the different versions of pork barbecue. They call them pork wings. I don't know I don't eat meat. I'm not sure what part of a pig makes the wings, but those are apparently delicious. And then they got a surf and turf one that's got some cedar plank salmon along with some chicken and a sliced pork. This is more your classy one. And then my personal favorite, why I always come back here, they have a veggie barbecue skillet, which is not something you see every day. This has the Beyond sausages that they smoke right there in the smokers with the real wood, some pulled jackfruit, a Beyond chicken breast, and depending on the time, they sometimes have some veggie beef tips in there, a barbecued cauliflower, and all these skillets come with all sorts of awesome vegetables that they also do in the smoker. Green beans with a smoked butter, mashed potatoes, roasted potatoes, and this is all you can care to eat. The trick here is all Disney World hotel rooms have a fridge in them. So just make sure you get one more skillet than you care to eat. You're going to box it up. You're going to take it back to your hotel room. And then you got some delicious smoked meats and veggies for breakfast the next morning, or a lunch if you come over for the nap. The other thing about this restaurant is we don't talk about what happens at Whispering Canyon.
No, we don't.
It's kind of like Fight Club. That almost universally to the person, people have been to Whispering Canyon will recommend it, and then they will just tell you things like, make sure you ask for the ketchup, or if you need your ice water refilled, ask for more ice water. And I'll leave it at that. So definitely go there. Ignore the a la carte menu and get yourself a skillet. If you are a milkshake person, they also have bottomless milkshakes here. Another amazing thing that this restaurant is known for.
Who doesn't like a good bottomless milkshake?
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
I don't think there's anybody who dislike. Even lactose intolerant people will suffer for a bottomless milkshake. I'd say the weak point here is the desserts. It's like a cobbler of the day and a molten chocolate cake, and that's it. But to be honest, you're gonna be so full you're not gonna want dessert anyway. And make sure you ask for the ketchup. Ask for plenty of ice water, and interact with your server and see what happens. But I go here every single trip without fail, even more than Sanaa. This is always the first ADR I make, and I'll switch everything around to make sure that I have a meal here. Personally, for me, just because getting actual barbecue made in a smoker, made with plant-based options, is so rare for me that this is something that's totally unique to my Disney vacations, and it's genuinely awesome, but also the experience is something else.
Yeah, I would just give everybody a tip for all of these restaurants that you go to, and we've talked about quite a few that are all you care to enjoy. Like Cousin Eddie says in Vegas Vacation, folks, doesn't say all you can enjoy here. Just remember that.
Hot tip right there.
That's right. So,
have you guys been here?
No, you know what, Tim? This is again. It's one of those things that Wilderness Lodge itself is on my list of places to stay. I think it's one of the best lobbies on property. Okay, that's not a hot take. It's probably the best lobby on property if you're into that type of decor. So it's just so beautifully done, especially around Christmas. Can't say enough good things about how this resort decorates itself around Christmas. Tim, this resort just opened, or will be reopening the first week of June? Is that what we have on this one? So,
first week of June.
Certainly you can contact Jordana here, and she can hook you up. It'll be interesting to see how both of those restaurants reopen that you talked about, Artist Point and
Whispering Canyon has been open throughout the pandemic. I went here in July and in January. So even with the rest of only the DVC side of the resort open, and everything about this restaurant, all you care to eat, the cast member interactions that we're kind of hinting at, all that was still present with COVID. They made it work, and this place was awesome. Definitely harder to get into than normal because it's not a big place to begin with, and that 50% capacity, which even with the new mask rules, Disney reiterated that dining would still be 50% capacity. So all the table services we talked about, Ohana, Sanaa, Artist Point, Kona Cafe, Whispering Canyon, these
California
are all
Grill,
super,
you're probably not even
California
into.
Grill, super popular places. All of these, you're going to want to contact Jordana to get ADRs on these, because none of these are an easy one to get if you're close to your travel date.
And now my shameless pitch for you guys out there listening. Let us know what restaurants you like. I think that we may try to rope Drew into doing this one. Maybe later in the summer we'll touch on some more. Who knows what's going to happen with our shows. We have some ideas we've been mulling about. But let us know what restaurants you guys have to go to, or what dining spot you love, whether it is a pool bar or a food court or so. You heard our picks. I mean, these weren't necessarily the best restaurants on property. These are just some that we like to go to that had value to us that we thought you guys would all enjoy. So let us know if there's anything that we missed. And I know that certainly there's probably 135,000 of you that are more likely to recommend better restaurants than I will ever recommend. So I would certainly love to hear it. Jordana, Tim, any parting words?
No, I mean, resort dining is great. This is definitely something we want to go back to. So if you have any hidden gems, if you have to go to Sebastian's every single time you go to Disney,
I feel like that's a shout out to our co-host.
Let us know if you want us to talk about some of yours, or you want to recommend one for us to check out next time we parks. But I don't think this is going to be the only time we talk about resort dining, because it's a great topic, and there's a bunch of it.
Right.
And Jordana, you can guarantee people getting restaurant reservations, right? You can guarantee
Saturday
that.
Ohana dinner 6:30. No matter
Your personal
what, right?
guarantee to our listeners.
Ooh, I can't guarantee that. That is a strong word to use, but I can promise that I will try.
Excellent.
But I will say my parting words are, I'm hungry, and that's it.
Excellent. Last thing before Tim takes us home, I would like to give a special shout out to a listener of the show, Aaliyah, for reaching out to us this week. We hear you. I know Drew got back to you. We are working on what you had discussed with us, and if we do come across anything, we will be sure to let you know. And guys, keep sending us emails. Keep letting us know if you like the show, if you don't like the show, if you hate me, if you hate Tim, because we're really the most hateable personalities on the show. So just let us know. Tim, take us home, kid.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap up episode 113, Disney Resort Dining, dare I say, Part 1. And thanks for listening to The Disney Guys, Uncensored.
After careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park.